Health, fitness, travel, fashion, investing, the world of social media offers insights from influencers in just about every aspect of life. So much so that influencer marketing has become an industry that's projected to rake in $13.8 billion this year. But much like any other industry, black influencers have not been paid their fair share. According to a new study by the MLS Group and the Influencer League, white social media influencers earn 35% more than black influencers on average. The study also suggested that influencer racial wealth gap outpaces several other industries like construction, media, finance, and education. 49% of black influencers say race has played a significant role in low pay rates for sponsored posts and affiliated program offers. And when it comes to posting about social issues, 59% of black influencers feel that posting about race will hurt their pockets, while only 14% of white influencers feel the same. While influencer marketing is a relatively new terrain, the same old economic inequalities have once again led to lower wages for black workers. Joining me now is Professor of Social Media and Marketing at Howard University, Dana Williams-Johnson. Professor Williams-Johnson, it just seems like the same old thing, but talk to us a little bit about why this gap exists. Can you write any of it off to the kinds of brands that the black influencers would be, trying to market, or is it just what we think it is, which is just pure racism in the marketplace?
Unfortunately, it is exactly what you think it is, and it's racism in the marketplace. What you're seeing online is exactly what you see in jobs any other day and in any other industry. And unfortunately, especially because it's digital marketing, they can see our faces, they can see us, we can talk about our issues. Race definitely plays into that, and so you can't ignore that fact. And I think the study really just kind of made it even more clear. What influencers have always known is that if you are black, they want our culture, they want what we create, but they don't necessarily always want us.
So what is the recourse here? There are no unions for influencers yet. The regulation around this space in terms of pay and monitoring who is being paid what is not really in place yet. So what is the recourse for these black influencers to ensure or have a better shot at getting an equitable pay?
I think a lot of it comes down to conversations that we have within the industry, and that people are actually talking and having real conversations. One of the things that I love to do in my classroom is bring in influencers and people that I know and that I've worked with. I'm what would be considered a micro influencer myself online, and having people talk about the realities of it, what they've experienced, what they get in terms of pay. I think a lot of times people don't want to talk about pay, but it's something that we need to address. You can even look at TikTok and the recent TikTok ban where TikTok went on strike. Black TikTokers went on strike because they said, hey, we create all these dances, we create all these trends, and no one wants to acknowledge that it's us that started it. And then the white creators come, take the dances over, make them popular, and then get all the opportunities from that. So I think it's those kinds of movements of saying, hey, we're not going to stand for it. We want equity, we want acknowledgement, and we are all talking amongst ourselves. I think that also helps the movement too.
Is there any way to hold the companies themselves, responsible in any way?
I think that's a challenge because every company will tell you, well, we build a marketing campaign or we negotiate with each person individually. It's the same thing that you see in corporations when we look at salaries. If someone says, oh, I was the marketing director, but I got $100,000 from my starting salary, and then you find out that your white colleague that was the marketing director before you started off at $125,000, someone will say to you, oh, they just negotiated better than you. And so that's what makes it a little bit difficult, especially within this influencer market. There isn't a standard, there isn't a standard contract, there isn't a standard fee, which is why I think it is so important for us to talk to each other, have those different leagues and groups and organizations where people can kind of say, hey, what are you getting? Hey, did you get that pitch? Did you get that email? What were they offering you? Did you turn it down? And I also see a lot of movement online where people are saying, like, hey, you have to value yourself. Don't do things for free. People love to say, take this as an opportunity or that you're going to get exposure. Exposure doesn't pay the bills. So, really being transparent as the influencers themselves helps so that other people, especially those coming up, understand what is out there, what can happen, and what they might be able to get.
Is there any move to create sort of consortiums that would, that would help, right? So if you had some sort of consortium, even if it wasn't a union per se, but just a coming together of people under some sort of agency. If you're doing speeches, you have an agent. The big agencies know exactly what everybody else is getting paid, and therefore they can pitch you and tell you when you're being undersold and do you want to take it anyway, whatever. Is there any movement in the influencer space to try to come up with similar structures so that they can ensure that they're not being undersold because they don't know how to negotiate?
So I know that there are agencies that actually deal specifically with social media influencers, but the majority of the influencers that are on their roster are white. And so, I mean, and that's what we're dealing with here is that race is that factor. And so you might have a handful or a sprinkling of really popular Black influencers, the people who have agents that are in that space. But I haven't seen a strong movement for a Black agency specifically that is catering to that market of influencers. I definitely think that there is a market for them. And I think too that there could be a possibility of unionizing in the future. But I think it also really does take that moment of saying, hey, we're kind of tired of this. We're being undersold. We're not getting the same opportunities. But that also means looking at your white counterparts and having them also say, hey, this thing I don't think is equitable or fair. And that's the same thing that you see in any other job. It's the same in the online space as it is in corporate America or any other job that you're going to see.
It seems that, very often the companies put your value at the number of followers you have and use that as the only metric for how much influence you have. Is that a fair way to do this? Because in general of the Black influencers, I know their numbers are just smaller than the white ones, and I think that is kind of a natural racism that kind of lurks in the space in general. Like some people are just more interested in having this kind of person tell them about tech than this person tell them about tech. And they don't consciously think that they're doing it because of racial reason, but they like the way that person sounds. They like the way that person looks, they like the way that person explains things. And that does have a racial dynamic. So is just the number of followers you have a good enough metric for your influence?
What you're typically told is that it's based on an engagement score. And so you're going to look at the number of followers that you have versus the number of likes that you have. But what a company really wants is engagement. So you can be a micro influencer. You can be someone who has a smaller audience. But if your audience is plugged in and if your audience is responding, then those are people that are going to want whatever it is that you're selling. You might only have 10,000 followers, but if every single time you post, you're getting 1,000 comments, that's more influential than a person who's getting 10,000 likes. Because you also have seen studies where it says the more followers you have, the less authentic people think that you are. So it is your micro influencers and your people who have the smaller audiences who you find are the most dedicated, the ones that love that person. And those are the people that I think that are the ones that do the best and probably sell the most and have some of the strongest influence because you feel like you have a connection with that person. And so that is where Black influencers can shine too.
Dana Williams Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Very enlightening, by the way.